By the time you're done with this video, you're gonna know the exact structure to creating a no-brainer offer for your agency and ultimately how to position that offer during your pitch. And what do you think happens when you can create a pitch that feels custom to every single person you speak with? They probably pay you way more money and are way more likely to pay you on that first call instead of shopping around like every other prospect that you speak with. Now, most of you have been taught that pain is the only thing that matters in your sales calls, and pain is definitely a very massive driving factor, don't get me wrong, but without a strong offer and strong positioning, you're going to start hearing things like this in your sales calls. Well, what makes you guys different? Or yeah, everything sounds great, I just want to see what other companies have to offer, and then they end up ghosting you. And I know all this because I have taken a ridiculous amount of sales calls, gone through trial and error, learned from every guru you can think of, but ultimately this framework I'm about to go over is the exact framework that Curtis Anderton has built. He's the CEO of Agency Closers after shadowing Eddie Malouf for almost 5 years, looking at every single sales conversations he's had and seeing exactly what specific tactical steps he's using to position himself as the only choice to get his clients to pay him way more money than all of his competitors. And this is also part of the process to help take bad marketing from doing $400K a month to over $2 million a month, all while simultaneously increasing their prices without changing a single deliverable. So if you want your prospects to feel like you are the only solution to solve their problems and see why you are clearly different so that they pay you heaps and piles of cash so that you can charge for your services more than you've ever charged the entire existence of your company, then watch this video all the way through because I'm going to show you exactly the tactical steps to build the perfect offer and the perfect positioning to get those people to take action on the call now rather than later. So let's dive right in. Everything I'm going over is going to be based on this value equation right here. And if you're not familiar with this, this was created by Mr. Alex Hormozi, who is like by far, in my opinion, the GOAT of business, especially in our space. He's just able to distill all these concepts that are super complex into just super simplistic, digestible points. And we're going to go over this value equation, how it relates to you creating the best possible offer for your agency, and then ultimately how to get people to trust you during that process, and then the exact structure to have a perfect pitch so well to the point where your prospects, when you're going over it, are quite literally ascending. Let's dive into it. The first thing I want to touch on is exactly what each of these things actually mean, and then how you can apply it to your agency right now. Pull up like a doc or anything like that. And what I want you to do, a piece of paper, whatever, is first, let's look at the dream outcome. And all this is going to be based on your ICP. For those of you who don't know what ICP is, it's your ideal client profile, which is really just the people who pay the most money and give you the least amount of headaches. We're going to find out what are the 3 main problems that your ICP is constantly having to deal with that you know you can directly solve. So if you're a marketing agency and you run Facebook ads and you have a call center and you know that you sell to roofers, for example, or just any type of contractor, home remodelers, plumbers, etc. They are probably on job sites doing a bunch of stuff all the time. So they may not have the time to just call leads immediately as soon as they opt in and actually come in. Your biggest solution that you can help with these people is that they hate having to answer the phone, having to book appointments, etc. So if you have a call center, that is one of the biggest points that you're going to want to write down right here. And then let's say you run a content agency, for example. You want to find out, in an ideal world, a busy professional, what do they not want to have to deal with? They don't want to have to spend countless hours making content, editing, scripting, ideation. They don't want to think about all that. So you're going to write out, how do you specifically help get them to that dream outcome where they only have to spend maybe a couple hours a month, and maybe you can even help them repurpose some of their old content to help them eliminate all the time it takes to actually create their content, build their brand in the first place. Let's say you do something that's not even ROI related as an agency, like operations, or maybe you do automations for someone. What's the biggest thing those business owners hate to deal with? I know one of the agencies we directly work with and help consult is an accountant firm that helps people make. I know one of our clients that we have directly consulted with is an accountant agency. And so they help accountants become way more efficient with their automations to help streamline their efficiency with each of their employees, and or just their actual onboarding with all their clients to just make it more seamless to help increase the lifetime value because they have a lot more enjoyable process. It helps decrease buyer's remorse, right? what I would write here is that you're having an ideal outcome of where you don't have to think about onboarding. It's completely automated, and all of that also increases your employees' efficiency, which means you can get more clients without adding on more employees, which adds way more to your bottom line, aka your profit. So get really, really clear. What are the three biggest things that your ICP wants more than anything? And write those things down. Now, once you've done that, I want you to go over the perceived likelihood of achievement. Now, how do we improve this? Now, this goes into how do people trust anyone to begin with? You got to think about what are the different types of proof that you can even have in the first place. If you think about what is the least credible proof, it's just someone saying it. That's like you just telling the prospect that you're the best, you're better than everyone else. And who probably says that all the time as well? All of your competitors. If everyone's saying it and you're saying it, it's pretty hard to know who to actually believe. If others are saying it, where you're getting testimonials, then that is much more credible proof than you just saying it yourself. So if you have these testimonials, that is one way to build trust. But the more sophisticated people that you're dealing with, the more irrefutable proof you need to have, which goes into this last point of where you just directly prove exactly what you're talking about, where it is irrefutable, meaning you can't dispute it. Like there is no way that you can have more proof than what I'm showing you. This could look like a couple different things depending on what type of agency you run. But let's say you do a marketing agency. You could literally show them an actual ad account of clients you've worked with, the ROAS, the cost per lead, the cost per appointment, everything, refresh it, share your screen, literally show them all of that proof, because then there is no denying what you're saying. And if you have that level of proof, anything you say after the fact is going to carry that same weight of truth. And the weight of truth is what ultimately brings people to have way more certainty in what you do. And certainty is ultimately one of the biggest reasons that people buy in the first place. And the reason that proving it is so powerful, even over testimonials, because the more sophisticated someone is, the more they know you can hire actors and blah, 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 testimonials that you can fake them, right? Literal proof, that could be like showing how, if you're able to, if you can show your payment processor and you have a very low dispute rate, let's say it's like less than 5% or something, and you can literally say, hey, look at this. Do you feel like we'd be able to be in business this long or even have these many clients who stick with us and don't ever charge back if we weren't providing a really good service? Anything like that, just like an added layer of trust and proof is what's going to ultimately give people more certainty to move forward now and not later. So again, this goes into their perceived likelihood of achievement. And there's a couple levers that you can, one of the main ones is literally that level of proof that you're giving people. And so I want you to scrounge up any proof you can get of like before and afters with your clients, any interviews that you've had, any ad accounts that you can show that have the best results possible. Show that level of proof. Now, another thing you can do to increase their perceived likelihood of achievement of that dream outcome that you have now clearly outlined is your authority and pre-call assets that you are sending people. So this is why pre-call is so important, is because it literally pre-frames people on you in general. So you can have irrefutable proof, I hope you love my handwriting here, of exactly why you're the best in the industry, why your service delivery is the best, why your team is the best. Like you can have all these things, but if people aren't actually consuming it before the call, it's a lot harder to go over all of those things and still have enough time to go through your entire sales process. Having pre-call that showcases proof of who you are and or authority, if you can build some level of a personal brand, that is everything you want to be doing to increase the perceived likelihood of achievement of this outcome. And just as like a little last third point you can use as well is just make sure your strategy logically makes sense. I mean, I can't tell you how many pitches I've seen where the strategy itself, it doesn't even logically make sense how they can be able to get them whatever outcome they're talking about. Make sure that your strategy is succinct and that it actually makes sense for how you're gonna get them results. Like there has to be some type of almost story behind it. And you always want to have some type of counter argument. So that's essentially the main point, is having a very big counter argument as to why your service delivery is different and works much better. So for example, whenever I had my roofing agency, one of the biggest things we did is we basically hedged against Facebook ads because everyone was running Facebook ads in a call center. So we said, hey, that's terrible. You're just going to burn all your money. They give you a million leads that just never answer and are terrible. Whereas Google local service ads, you literally only pay for qualified calls, meaning they have to be in your service area and they have to be looking for the services that you're actually offering, or you can literally dispute that call and refund it with Google and you don't pay for it. That is what helped people give a higher perceived likelihood of achievement. Another thing we did as well is because I would literally share my screen and I would pull up Google and I'd show them, hey, these are the top people on Google who are already on the #1 page, and they're at the very top of that page too. And the reason I'm able to do that is because there's a section called Google Guaranteed, which are Google local service ads. And I literally click on it, I would show them and say, hey, look, this is an example of a business. All you do is call them, and they literally have this badge that says Google Guaranteed. And so me showing them this is a literal platform that works on Google, and I explain the story of how, hey, anyone who needs your service, they're not going to go on Facebook and just look up roofing. They're going to go to Google and look up, how do I get my roof replaced, or roof replacements, or any type of those keywords that have to do with roofing. They're typically going to go Google it rather than look it up on social media. So that was my counter argument to everyone else who is offering Facebook ads. You can say the same thing if all you do is offer Facebook ads. Then you can say, hey, Google's terrible because it costs a ridiculous amount of money to even get those leads. So like, yeah, you may get better quality leads in the beginning. It's still going to be way more money. And at the end of the day, who cares about your cost per lead? All that really matters is your cost per acquisition. And then here's literal proof of how we have gotten a way lower cost per acquisition across X amount of clients compared to Google ads. Anything you can do to have a counter argument using your pre-call material to just showcase as much proof as humanly possible. That's perceived likelihood of achievement. And then over here, we have dream outcome. And now the other aspect is your time delay. What is time delay? Time delay is everything to do with how long does it take to either get results or set up something in general. When it comes to decreasing your time delay, you can do one of two things. Either talk about how you execute with speed. Let's say you can have their ads up and running within 7 days. Or let's say you are a content agency, or maybe your service delivery just takes a lot longer than the typical week, 2 weeks to get set up, and it's like months. Like you sell SEO, or you literally sell content for people that it takes time to like build a personal brand, etc. So in those cases, the best thing you can do is just be brutally honest. Like you can literally tell people that, hey, everyone else out there is probably telling you you're gonna make like $1 million tomorrow. I do the exact opposite. Like I'm going to be brutally honest with you at all times. This is going to take at least 90 days for you to start getting consistent people in. But once you do, it's going to pay massive dividends because of the amount of time it takes. And ultimately with content, with SEO, it's not linear like ads where you put in $1 and you get 2 or 3 out. It is exponential. When you're more real with people about the time delay it takes to get the results they're looking for, they're more likely to trust you, which then again increases their perceived likelihood of achievement. And so either way, you're either going to talk about how you execute really fast to get them that result. And you can literally take averages and numbers from your current clients to talk about how fast they see a return or how fast they make their first dollar. Whatever the case is, use one of those things. Either how fast you move, or if it takes a long time, be real about it, because people are actually going to trust you, because most people are just going to blow smoke up their ass and tell them that they're going to make $1 million tomorrow, which no one actually believes. And that's why they get so many think about it objections, etc. The last aspect is the amount of effort and sacrifice it takes to get all of these results here. What does that actually look like? Now, with effort and sacrifice, think about what does the business owner have to do to see these results. If you think about the greatest offer in the world that you could sell for $1 billion, it would be like get shredded is the dream outcome, like a pill that gets you absolutely shredded, gets you your dream body, whatever you want. And it's guaranteed to happen because this pill is FDA approved and it's already worked for 10,000 other people, and it works in 10 seconds and you don't have to do anything but take a pill. That is worth a ridiculous amount of money because it shortcuts all the things everyone hates about having to get to their peak physical state or however they want to look. This is the exact same thought process you want to think about here. When it comes to effort and sacrifice from an agency perspective, you also want to use things like, okay, if you're running Facebook ads and they hate calling leads, like they're just constantly busy, talk about how you have a literal call center that calls their leads for them and pre-qualifies them so they don't have to spend a single second on the phones. They just show up to the jobs and do what they do best. That is one example for effort and sacrifice. Another one you can use too to help lower their sacrifice that's involved in getting to their results is talking about what elements you were doing for them. If you run their ads, you literally call their leads for them. They don't have to lift a single finger. Like let's say you have AI generated creative that's already getting your clients really good results where they don't even have to record themselves. themselves for the ads, that you can see that is a lower level of effort and sacrifice required in order to get that result. Little things like this is what really stacks up and helps create that irresistible offer. Again, let's say you do the inverse too. Let's say you run Google ads, but your competitors are doing Facebook ads. And you can literally talk about how they don't have to call any leads, like doing outbound. You can refer to Facebook leads as like you're basically cold calling, whereas Google, they're literally searching for you. So it helps alleviate a lot of the effort it's going to take to get these qualified appointments in the first place. Think about how you can spin your service delivery in a way that decreases their amount of effort and sacrifice to get the end result that they want. So now that we've covered exactly what the value equation looks like for the agencies with a couple of different examples that you guys can use, and you've built this on your own doc or piece of paper, now we're going to break down how do you turn all of that into an offer. The first aspect is having an actual irresistible mechanism, also known as your USP, which is your unique selling proposition. This is what makes you different compared to all of your competitors. And the reason this is so important is because in the agency space, pretty much everyone is commoditized. Everyone does Facebook ads, everyone does marketing, but it's like, how do you do that thing that makes you way different? If you think about something like Domino's, they literally say, hey, you'll get your pizza delivered and I think ready within 30 minutes, or it's free. FedEx is there by tomorrow morning. Anything that you can use should be explainable within a single sentence. If your prospect can't repeat your offer back to someone, it's not sharp enough. Like the actual concept, the value, and the outcome all have to land within a single breath, meaning you have to be able to do it in a single sentence, clearly displaying what makes you unique compared to all of your competitors. So for us over here at Agency Closers, we literally help you increase your prices, and pretty much everyone doubles their prices without decreasing their close rate. So if you could double your prices without lowering your close rate, that is as simple as it gets for our unique mechanism as to like what we do. Because no one else in the industry is talking about doubling your prices alongside increasing your close rate. You can do the same thing for your agency, literally going over what makes everything you do unique if you had to really specify it. And the way I want you to challenge yourself on making this irresistible mechanism is going over and asking, okay, could anyone else just say this? Do you have proof to back up what you're talking about? And so for us, we've helped dozens and dozens and dozens of agencies that we have proof of doubling and tripling their agencies while simultaneously increasing their prices. Literally every single member that's came inside of Agency Closers has increased their prices while increasing their close rate as well. Because we're able to do that, that is what makes it a tangible, irrefutable, unique mechanism. And also there's a lot more stuff that we do as well with like audits, etc., that make it even more unique. And that's obviously talked about during the sales call itself. But with this and with your agency, you can use what you have proof of doing for other people as your unique mechanism. But the more unique you can make it, the better, whether it's AI, whether it's your call center, whether it's the platform that you're on, anything that you can do to make it as irresistible as possible from a mechanism perspective, that is what you want to focus on. The second aspect to formulating that into your offer is making sure that it is believable. So everything we've been talking about, proof. So in order for a great offer to work, it needs two things. The prospect has to believe that you can deliver it, which requires a clear reason why you're going to be able to deliver it. And they have to feel like they're getting massively more value than what they're paying. What does this mean? Every single call, you need to be building enough pain where you are getting a clear opportunity cost as to what they're leaving on the table by not fixing their problem. And so when you have this amount they're leaving on the table, that is already helping you massively outweigh what they have to pay to fix the issue. And then additionally, if you have an overwhelming amount of irrefutable proof, they are going to be way more likely to believe that you can actually deliver on that service itself. And the last aspect to combine all of this together, you need to make sure that you compete on one of these aspects, whether it is speed, risk reversal, or it's maybe just easy to use. And so with risk reversal, for example, you might have a performance-based offer. I really advise to not just lean and rely on a guarantee, because you're not going to get very good people. You're going to people who probably gotten burned a million times in the past, and they want a guarantee because a past experience they went through wasn't guaranteed, or maybe it was and they still didn't get the results they wanted. So use risk reversal if you're getting insane client results and you truly feel extremely confident behind the results you're getting and the logistics make sense for it, then ideally you can use a performance type based offer where you're like, hey, we only win if you win. Like that's one of the most compelling offers you can possibly have. Even if you don't have that awesome of a sales call and you give them this offer that's just, hey, you only pay us when you make money or when you get XYZ result, like you get an appointment, you get a shown appointment, whatever it is, you can literally use that in your offer to make it irresistible because everyone else is charging multiple $1,000 retainer plus performance potentially. Anything you can do to increase the risk reversal side or speed and how much faster they're going to be able to get the results compared to normal strategies out there, or just how easy it is to do on their end because of the effort and sacrifice. So if you can deliver results faster than anyone else, if you can eliminate the customer's biggest fear through overwhelming proof and make the experience dramatically more frictionless compared to their competitors, where let's say you're setting up automations or you're doing something with their operations and they're super hesitant against doing that because every single time in the past that they've even thought about doing it, they know it's just going to be this huge long process to switch in and have their employees implement all these systems, etc. Like you want to make sure that this process is as frictionless as possible. And so what I want you to do is take everything you wrote down here and combine it with a unique mechanism that you can use. Think about all the ways that you can increase the perceived likelihood of achievement with the proof that we talked about and the different ways you can do that, and just use this equation to come up with your core offer. I want your core offer to then be distilled into 3 main points, which we're going to go over the exact structure of what that should look like right here. So the first thing you're going to go over is your team and about us. So it's literally going to build trust. So specialization and what you specialize in as far as a platform or what type of ads or what you do. Maybe you're an e-com agency and you do flow build outs in a certain way and you use this AI tool to help you streamline all of that. So you can send out and build way more flows than all of your competitors, even if they wanted to. Whatever it is, you can use this section in the beginning to build trust around who you are in your company. Because if people don't have enough trust in who you are, everything else you say about your service delivery or anything like that it's irrelevant because they don't believe anything you say until you show them proof first. That's why we always go over what can we show this prospect that what we're saying is absolutely true. So if you can show case studies that you've had, if you can show live testimonials, if you can showcase literal ad accounts, if you can showcase client accounts that you've worked with, whatever it is that you're helping people do, show them irrefutable proof of that to build trust around you and your team. And so if you think about your team, right, you can think about how everyone else in the agency space, they're just going to hand you off to a CSM from Pakistan or the Philippines, whatever. Whenever people get handed off like that, they have a pretty bad client experience. If your process is different, where you actually hand them off to a strategist, then that is something you want to iterate on and actually talk about even more. If what's different about you is that they get connected with your entire team, like you're going to be in a Slack chat with our media buyer, our strategist, myself, and like you can literally show them, hey, here's our team, here's pictures of all those guys, here's their roles, here's how long they've been with us, here's how long that we've been in this space. Anything you can do to leverage how long you've been in the space to build trust, to showcase any of these things and results that you've had, immediately flex those things to then segue into your service delivery. Because once you're going after case studies, you say, hey, here's all these crazy, awesome results we've gotten for our clients, and then here's exactly how we did it. So this is where you can go over your service. So whether you do ads, content, lead generation, whatever it is, this is your core offer that you're going to be going over. And then you're going to have supporting and secondary services that just support all of that. So this could be like having Facebook ads and then you have a call center. It could be that you do content, but you also help with SEO with their captions so they pop up when people look up questions around that topic, and you help build them a website, whatever it is. You want to have these as your main 3 pillars that go over trust, what you do, how it works specifically, and ideally you're showing people this stuff. You're showing them exactly what the ads look like. Something that helps a lot too is you can literally, if they're already running ads too, you can compare their ads to what they're doing now. And it doesn't matter if you're running ads or if you're an operations agency, whatever it is, you want to showcase and compare and contrast to help them realize, oh wow, this email is way different than this email. I can see why yours outperforms mine, or this ad is way better than this ad. I can see why your client's ads outperform mine because they have these main elements. So if you can literally teach people why they're getting worse results than you and your clients, who's going to be a higher authority in that case? You, obviously. That is the exact structure that you want to have with your pitch and exactly how to help create and formulate and build a baseline of your offer. So use this value equation, get extremely clear on the dream outcome of your ICP, how you can increase their certainty that you'll deliver those results, decrease the time delay to get the results, or if it takes a while, be brutally honest about it. It's going to build more trust, and then lower the effort and sacrifice required to get these results as much as humanly possible. And that is exactly how you're going to craft a beautiful offer that is very, very difficult to say no to. And ultimately, the last aspect I want to go over when it comes to your pitch as well is that you need to make sure you're using all the ammunition you got from discovery and tying it to every main pillar that you have. So you're going to say something like, hey, remember how you're saying you worked with an agency in the past, or you're currently running Facebook ads and you're getting a bunch of shitty leads who are just tire kickers and not actually serious and working with you? Yeah, well, that's why we use Google, because people are actually searching for you. They're not just doom scrolling on Facebook or Instagram, and they're actually looking for your services. So that way you're only getting qualified leads. And with this program, Google Local Service Ads, you're actually able to only pay for those qualified leads. So you don't even pay for leads that aren't qualified. So then once you iterate and talk about and pull ammunition from your discovery on like why what you're doing is different, you can then tie down and ask them, hey, does that make sense? Okay, sweet. This team, this structure, and like who we are, how we train our guys, does that align with the level of expertise you're looking for in a team to run your ads, to build out your operations? And then the secondary part, when you go over your main service, you're going to then once again tie down your offer and how it's very unique and ask them again, does that make sense? And can you see how this type of lead generation or this lead generation paired with your call center or paired with SEO is ultimately going to get you to these results that you're looking for? And then really tying that down is extremely important. So at the very end of your pitch, how it should sound is that after you've gone through everything, you're going to say, hey, everything I just covered, can you see how all of that solves all of the problems that we talked about during our conversation? They're going to say yes. You're going to say, cool. Is there any reason whatsoever you feel like, even we've done this for 40 other companies, that you wouldn't be able to get the same, if not similar results? They're going to say, no, I don't see any reason. So they basically just agree to, as they see exactly how your service will solve all their problems, and they don't see any reason you wouldn't be able to solve those problems, given they just work with you because you've already done it for so many people. And that is where you completely tie out value. You've tied down every single pillar. You've already built irrefutable proof and trust, and ultimately structured your offer in a way that is unique compared to everyone else, because in each of these pillars, especially the main service and secondary supporting service, you're going to break down why exactly is what you do unique compared to everyone else. Now, I actually created a resource document that goes over how to create the perfect pitch for your offer. It gives you the exact prompting for how to create this, and you can plug in everything you've built here. You've been following along on exactly how to make this pitch. That's in the description, so feel free to click on it down below, make yourself a copy, and just copy those prompts. There's only 2 of them, super simple. You're gonna copy that, put it in there. It's gonna help you create a very strong baseline level pitch, which then you'll be able to use in your sales calls literally today. So hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Like I said, go click that link down below so that you guys can get your own perfect pitch document where you can just implement those prompts today so that you can get your prospects who buy at the end of your calls and feel stupid saying no, because your offer is so good and positioned in such a way where it is truly different from everyone else in the marketplace.